Hello, my name is Jimmy and welcome. This is the 2021 Kia K5. First, let's see how quick it is. Quick acceleration test. Just gonna jab the throttle here. All-wheel drive power. Sounds actually okay. 0 to 60 comes in at 8 seconds, which is absolutely fine for a family sedan like this. There's 180 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. And yes, it is sent to all four wheels because here in Canada, the K5 only comes in all-wheel drive. If you didn't know, the K5 nameplate has been used in Korea since 2010, but it's brand new for us here in North America. Back then, it was just called the Optima, and it was a huge success. Designed by a gentleman named Peter Schreier, a well-known German auto designer that created the original TT, he gave new life to the Optima, and it looked amazing. In fact, I actually bought one myself because of, well, the features and the way that it looked. Flash forward to today though, the K5, well, it's been radically changed, and its amazing new looks, it brings exactly what's needed to the Kia lineup. This specific model that we have here is the Canadian spec 2021 K5 in Wolf Grey. It kind of takes a little bit from like the Nardo Gray that Audi uses, and it looks amazing. But let's look closer at it, as I truly believe this is one of the better designed vehicles for 2021. The front end, well, it's absolutely stunning. We have these amber heartbeat daytime running lights. Just stare into them, they're so pretty. Around them, we got LED headlamps that flank the tiger nose grille. Lower down here, we have sporty grille openings to give the K5 a meaner look. The hood itself, there's multiple creases that run all the way up to the base of the window. And we see more creases on the side on the sheet metal that stretches the length of the vehicle. And it makes the vehicle look longer as well as sleeker. This chrome strip here, it starts at the base of the A-pillar. It goes up and over the window, then wraps around in the back onto the trunk before looping back to the opposite side. It actually creates a little bit of an optical illusion. It's very unique. By extending this chrome strip down and onto the trunk, it actually makes the K5 kind of look like a hatch, or as Mercedes calls it, a coupe, rather than a traditional sedan. If the rear windows were tinted, well, this would help the illusion quite a bit more. Back to the side though, on this GT line that we have here, we get 18-inch blacked out wheels. The base versions get 16s and the top GT trim gets 19s. To finish off the exterior, we have combination LED tail lamps that stretches the entire width of the rear end, and below we got some vents to match the sportier styling up front. Sadly, a lot of these vents back here, well, they're actually all fake, along with a pair of fake exhaust tips on the bottom, just to, well, add on to the overall fakeness. The designers at Kia did an amazing job with the K5. It's not an easy task to make a family sedan this striking, and in my eyes, like I said, it's one of the best looking sedans on the road. But that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you folks think in the comments below. The Accord, well, it's nice, but it's kind of bland next to the K5. The Camry is outdated, and the TRD, well, it just looks like it's trying too hard. And the Sonata, well, that's elegant, but it just doesn't give that sporty vibe, which I personally like. Let's move on to the inside though. Stand behind the trunk and it automatically opens after a few seconds to reveal 15.3 cubic feet of space. It's a tad smaller than the Accord, but it's still quite generous. As for the back seats, it's very accommodating. There's plenty of headroom and legroom from a 5'11 frame. It's a bit less legroom than the Accord overall, but it's more than adequate. While we don't get vents on this specific trim, we do get heated seats back here, which is nice on a cold day like today, but on hotter days, I just wish there were vents in here just to improve ventilation. What's nice is there's still 2 USB charge points and a practical armrest to house 2 cup holders. For those with children, I found the lower anchors or the ISOFIX anchors a bit hard to get to as they're tucked between the leather. I do have a full video of a child install seat on the corner, whichever corner it is, and you can see exactly how to put a car seat in and just how much room there is. Moving on to the front, these seats are mighty comfy. They're heated as well as cooled with plenty of adjustments, but there is no vertical lumbar adjustments here. For the driver, there's even a 2-position seat memory, which is nice. Looking forward, we get the Kia's updated 3-spoke steering wheel. I like how it says GT line on the flat bottom here. While it lacks paddles for shifting, the buttons are easy to use, and behind that, we have a traditional cluster. Unlike the Sonata, which shares the same platform as the K5, we don't get a digital dash here unless it's the top GT trim. But these analog dials, well, they're just fine and they're perfectly visible. There is a smaller screen in the center to show you speed and a whole bunch of other things, but it's just not as pretty as a full digital dash. Off to the center of the dash, we have a large 10.25-inch infotainment display. The base model gets an 8-inch unit, which has wireless Apple CarPlay as well as wireless Android Auto. But on the higher end trim with this display, you can't have that. You have to plug it in, which is kind of odd that they left it out. But on the top models, we do have a Qi wireless charger. So you have a wireless charger, but you don't have wireless CarPlay. And on lower models, you have wireless CarPlay, but you don't have a wireless charger. Doesn't really add up. The infotainment system though, it's very simple to use, and I love the widescreen aspect ratio that it has here. And I love the overall theme of it. It's actually a very pretty unit. Going through the menus is nice and speedy, and it's not like just traditional buttons. The only thing is, well, the buttons, they all kind of look the same because they're the same color. So it's a little bit hard to go from memory, but you can customize it the way that you want through the menu itself. The thing I don't really like about this infotainment is, well, a lot of other journalists have complained about. The buttons off to the side of the screen, well, they're just touch sensitive. They're not actual physical buttons. So you have to take your eyes off the road to actually use them. But most of the buttons you can control off the steering wheel, so it's not that bad, but it is something to note. While the Sonata and the K5 is quite similar in the overall layout, one thing is very different is the shifter itself. Kia has gone with a more traditional shifter here rather than push button shifter that we find in the Sonata. This makes the K5 a bit easier for drivers to get in and drive, but it does reduce the amount of space available in the center console. But just like the Sonata, the K5 shifter is still connected to an excellent 8-speed automatic. Yes, there's actual gears in here, none of that CVT whine, and utilizes all that power from the 1.6-liter turbo. Here in Canada, as I mentioned, all models of the K5 comes standard with all-wheel drive. In the US, it is optional. You're looking to pay about $2,000 more, but with the GT trim, it's paired with the premium package, which gives you a grand total of $3,700. We see a lot of automakers adding all-wheel drive to their sedans. It's, well, just one way to bring people back from the SUV market. Manufacturers like Kia, Nissan, and Toyota have all recently released all-wheel drive versions of their mid-size sedans. In terms of how it drives, well, it actually drives pretty well. It's very sure-footed. The all-wheel drive system feels relatively neutral, although, yeah, it's still gonna push wide when you actually just stab it, but it's not too bad. I was actually quite surprised how well it actually handles. It kind of feels Mazda 6-ish, and it's definitely a good thing. While on paper 180 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque doesn't sound like it's too much, it's actually not bad for this chassis. You stab the throttle and it does hustle. It's a little rough sounding on the top end, but it may be just this car. The 8-speed, it shifts so well, and that's definitely one of the best positives about this car. Something I really like is just the suspension. It's stiff, yes, but it's not overly stiff. It's still very compliant. So in here, well, it just feels like a very good riding vehicle. Some may say it feels a little European. Let's throw into sport mode here and just chuck it into a corner. It's not bad. It's not bad. But let's be honest. No one's really buying a K5 to chuck it into corners. It's just a family sedan. But one thing that families will care about is fuel economy. Because this does have all-wheel drive, it is worse than the Sonata. In a city, it's 9.2 liters for 100 kilometers, that's 26 miles per gallon. In the highway, 6.9 liters for 100 kilometers, that's 34 miles per gallon. It's not bad, but it's definitely not great. For those that are seeking just a little bit more power, well, you can get the GT. The GT comes with a 2.5-liter turbo, which makes 290 horse and 311 pounds-feet of torque. So it's definitely not going to be as sure-footed as the all-wheel drive counterpart that we have here. It's also made it to an 8-speed dual clutch rather than a traditional torque-converted automatic. And of course, because it's 2021, these cars come with plenty of safety technology. There's adaptive cruise, lane keep assist, whole bunch of things that, well, to keep you and your occupant safe actively as well as passively. All right, let's pull over here and go over the K5. All right, the 2021 Kia K5. This is actually quite good, and I love the way it looks. Overall, well, the K5 has fully grown up. It follows the success of the previous generation and adds a whole bunch of funk into it. While it's similar to the Sonata, Kia has always aimed towards a sportier appearance and feel, and that's definitely felt here in the K5. While it doesn't have some of the features like the Sonata has, like the Smart Park system or 360 camera, the looks and the all-wheel drive, well, it makes up for it in my books. It's an amazing sedan for the masses, and, well, the biggest question is this better than the Accord? Well, that's hard to say, but I can definitely say it's better than the outdated Camry. And that's something. Prices start under $30,000 Canadian, and it's pretty well equipped as is. For this specific model, as tested, is $36,245. In the US, that's about $30,435, but since there are options that kind of vary between countries, it may be a little different. It's less than the equivalent Camry, and it's about the same as the Optima or Legacy. But Kia does so with more equipment, and in my eyes, well, quite a bit more style. But that's just how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think of the K5 in the comment section down below. I'm going to enjoy this car just a little bit longer because I actually quite enjoy driving it. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day.